Now it's Manchester City against Chelsea with Leon Osman and first of all John Murray.
Yes, thank you, Mark. Welcome everyone inside Wembley Stadium. I do hope you've been listening all afternoon, because at this time of year 5 Live Sport on a Saturday afternoon is always so eventful, as it has been today. I hope that's going to continue during the course of the evening. We've got late arrivals just in front of us taking their seats. There aren't too many spare seats inside the three tiers of Wembley Stadium. The teams are almost ready. Manchester City with this side, Ortega in goal, Walker, Stones, Akanji and Ake, Rodri with De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva, then Phil Foden, Jack Grealish and Julian Alvarez. No Erling Haaland. If you haven't heard, he's not involved at all. Pep Guardiola says they don't think it's too serious. He might be available for Thursday at Brighton in the Premier League. And Chelsea with Petrovic in goal. Sanchez is still not involved. Then Gusto, Chalobah, Silva and Cucurella, Moses Caicedo, Fernandes and Captain Gallagher, with Madueke, Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson. 5 Live, and we've been joined as well by listeners from all over the world. The BBC's World Service join us for the first of the 2024 FA Cup semi-finals, the Emirates FA Cup, and it is Manchester City in the sky blue shirts who kick off. White shorts, blue socks, Manchester City. Their defence of the Champions League ended on Wednesday night. Now here they are in London on this overcast afternoon as the FA Cup holders against Chelsea, who win the ball back centre field. Here's Caicedo, but he's crowded out. Chelsea in their first choice colours as well, the blue shirts with the gold numbers on the back, blue shorts, white socks. Cucurella, hair flying down the left wing, swings over the cross, but he was under pressure at the time from the recovering Kyle Walker, and his cross landed in the opposite full-back area where Nathan Ake volleyed it out of play into the Manchester City section. And as we look here, it's the City fans in the sky blue to the left of the halfway line and the Chelsea fans to our right. They put up a huge banner which said, "Our blood is blue and we would leave you never," the Chelsea fans. They've already been here just a few weeks ago, Chelsea, when they lost in the League Cup final, the Carabao Cup final, and now they're attempting to do... Oh! Poor ball from Cucurella, almost let in Alvarez. Crucial late challenge from Thiago Silva. And then Grealish overhits the pass through Bernardo Silva. Leon Osman, that was a near thing for Cucurella.
Just a lack of concentration. I was about to say, I think it's been a good start for Chelsea. I thought they've been tight to Manchester City players. They've won the ball back. They've forced Manchester City backwards. They've retained possession of the ball, and that just shows how quickly a game could potentially change. One lack of concentration, a sloppy pass from Cucurella across his own penalty area and was very nearly punished. Brilliant tackle from Thiago Silva.
Yes, it was. That's Leon Osman, former England and Everton midfielder. And we're watching Chelsea bringing the ball forward down the right-hand side. Here's Jackson on the right flank. Jackson trying to lay it down the line, and then the flying Nathan Ake has his legs clipped by Madueke, and it's a free kick to Manchester City in their own left-back position. So, Leon, we're about to find out, aren't we? 2 minutes on the clock, 0-0, Manchester City and Chelsea. We're about to find out whether this is a good time for Chelsea to play Manchester City or a bad time.
Yes, we are. I think everybody's probably expecting some sort of reaction from Manchester City to that defeat against Real Madrid in the week, but it's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as clicking your fingers, turning up for the next game. You have to mentally shrug off that defeat. They're a team that have got the quality all over the field. I think Chelsea will try and take the game to Manchester City today. Initially from the start we weren't sure whether it be Cole Palmer centrally and Gallagher where he would play. It looks like Gallagher started on the left, Cole Palmer in that number 10 position. Interesting one.
With Ake bringing the ball forward, but he's tripped by Jackson, and he's sent sprawling actually. He probably fell and slid 5 or 6 yards, but it's a free kick on the halfway line. Michael Oliver's the referee, by the way. Michael Oliver just checking that he's okay, which he is. He's back on his feet, and so it is a free kick after that foul centre field, and a free kick that John Stones is standing over, just taps it to his left. And here is Rodri. Yeah, that's going to be one of the things today, to see how Manchester City respond to the defeat after 120 minutes and penalties at their own stadium on Wednesday night. And so obviously no Erling Haaland, but Kevin De Bruyne picked in the team when he had to go off. He asked to go off, he wasn't right, in added time, and Akanji as well. And Manchester City are all over Thiago Silva here, but he recovers well. Rode the first challenge, Bernardo Silva came in. Thiago Silva putting it out for a throw down the right-hand side. And Kyle Walker as well, having only just come back, Kyle Walker, and playing the whole match on Wednesday night. He was injured here in the early stages of the England match against Brazil last month. I wasn't 100% sure whether he'd start, but Pep Guardiola wants him in the team.
Yeah, there are a few players that you'd probably just be keeping your eye on if you're Pep Guardiola, as you said, after that draining night emotionally and physically. Kevin De Bruyne looks like he's not lacking the yard, certainly in this game. He's started very sharply, sprinting all around the pitch, and Kyle Walker, you'd expect to be the same.
And the other thing to say is Bernardo Silva starting on the right. That's where he finished the match on Wednesday night, with Phil Foden in a more central position. You're never quite sure, are you? But that's what he's decided to do to begin with.
Yeah, and they can obviously rotate throughout the game. They're intelligent footballers. They can pick up a position, they can play there for 5 minutes, move and rotate. I do like to see Phil Foden centrally, though. I think he offers a team an awful lot in that position.
It is Manchester City, and a foul committed by Caicedo. Just a little trip on the halfway line and a free kick to Manchester City, who just knock it back to Rodri. Just by watching them here, we are watching a little bit of FA Cup history after what's been a difficult couple of days for the great competition, with the news on Thursday that there will be no replays in the competition proper from next season. But Manchester City today become the first club to appear in an FA Cup semi-final for 6 consecutive seasons. It is Manchester City, with Akanji bringing the ball forward, just tapping it to his left to Ake, and now here's Jack Grealish. Might have been Doku who started this match, but he's on the substitutes bench, and Grealish, who did well against Real Madrid in the time that he was on the field. Grealish selected to start again, and Grealish in the orange boots just backing away to the touchline on the left-hand side. A paper plane, an early paper plane, comes down off the field behind Grealish, as it's steered again by Akanji to Ake on the left wing. And the return pass is collected as it deflects to Palmer, who neatly passes it forward to Jackson, and Jackson up over the halfway line. In comes the tackle from Ake. Referee Oliver was just a few yards away, and even though Chelsea wanted a free kick and looked at the referee, he said nothing doing. Fair tackle by Ake.
I think it was brilliant all round. Initially, Nicholas Jackson took the ball, took it around Akanji, and looked like he was bursting into that Manchester City half with space to run into. But you're right, Ake, I thought his recovery run initially was very good, but his tackle was exceptional, and the referee, Michael Oliver, was right on top of it.
As Kyle Walker is caught in possession, and now Palmer, lovely ball to Jackson, edge of the area, shoots left-footed, but straight at goalkeeper Ortega is able to pat it down. The shot straight at his chest, and he got his gloves behind it.
Yeah, tame shot. I don't think he ever really trusted himself as the ball fell to his left foot there. Nicholas Jackson, no surprise that Cole Palmer's right at the heart of it. Good position, picking up the ball and then playing the pass. But I did the game at the Etihad where Chelsea went there. I wasn't sure how they were going to play. They were out of form at the time and seemed to have a way of playing against Manchester City, picking them off, finding the good passes, and they've started in the same manner here.
Here's the Chelsea captain today, Conor Gallagher, giving it to Cucurella, whose ball in field is passed straight to Rodri. So Manchester City, with De Bruyne, are able to bring it forward. Hair swept back, and then he's challenged well by Fernandes. Wins it back for Chelsea on the halfway line, just in front of where Mauricio Pochettino is standing. They've got a great history, haven't they? Guardiola and Pochettino together. Ball on the right-hand side with Madueke. Madueke to the byline, tried to win the corner, which he did. The defender was there in front of him. Nathan Ake stretching out a leg, it clipped off him and was straight behind for a corner to Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea certainly look like they've come here to have a go at Manchester City. They're sprinting around all over the pitch. They're not giving Manchester City their usual time that you see having the ball. Teams tend to drop off and let them play. Chelsea aren't doing that, and they're leaving players in quite advanced positions there. This ball switched out to Madueke, happy to go 1v1, try and get at Ake, and actually ended up being really good defended by that Manchester City left back.
Well, in that match at the Etihad Stadium, they did cause problems when they came forward, took the lead through Raheem Sterling, who is on the bench today, by the way, against his former club, Raheem Sterling. And that's what they're trying to do now, get first blood in the FA Cup semi-final. Gallagher is taking all the time that he can, very measured from the Chelsea captain. Little steps from him now with the corner. Outswinger towards the penalty spot. Fernandes with the header, not a clean one. And it dropped into the path of Jack Grealish, who was able to just volley it away downfield. And Chelsea take up possession again. In the first half here, the teams are attacking away from their own sets of supporters, which is what they always like to do in the FA Cup semi-final. As Chelsea lose possession. Alvarez in for the injured Haaland. Now here's De Bruyne on the left-hand side. De Bruyne, left-footed cross, but that is blocked behind by Caicedo, and it is a corner now to Manchester City at the other end.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Chelsea trying to play out from the back there. Conor Gallagher just getting caught in possession. You feel that Chelsea, yeah, they've started well, they've got good pace, they can cause Manchester City problems, but they have to be perfect. The moment they lose the ball in situations like that, City are definitely a team that can and will punish them through the course of the game.
John Stones just wandering into the penalty area now, just inside the box, talking to Akanji. Alvarez takes this corner short to De Bruyne, and then Alvarez, right-footed curling ball to the back post. Rodri's there with a header, and he was right up against the white line there, beyond the far post, as he headed it infield, took a deflection and bounced up to Petrovic, the goalkeeper, and the assistant indicated that the ball did not go over the line. So if he'd been able to return it into the middle, Leon, that could have caused chaos. Yeah,
it was a decent set-piece routine. You could see what Manchester City were thinking, try and play a short one, get it all the way around the back. It was just a bit too much asked of Rodri at the far post. They were unable to get it back.
Entertaining start with Chelsea playing the ball out from the back rather perilously, but Caicedo under pressure got a touch on the ball back to Chalobah, who was able to get it away. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. If you're on the move on this actually quite chilly spring evening here in London, at least, have a listen if you're taking the dog for a walk or whatever you happen to be doing via BBC Sounds. 5 Live on BBC Sounds. Ball lost centre field. Palmer's gone for goal from just forward of the centre circle. Well, that was an opportunist effort from the man who scored 4 goals on Monday night, but Ortega was in the right place in the penalty area to field it.
Yeah, but he's got great awareness, a great imagination, Cole Palmer, to be able to receive that ball on the half turn, know the goalkeeper would be potentially off his line. He went for it under pressure and wasn't far away from getting what would have been an absolutely sensational goal, getting it right.
Yes, against his former club. Remember how he scored the ice-cold penalty in the 4-4 draw at Stamford Bridge, way into added time. And that also demonstrated that Chelsea found a way to play against Manchester City under Mauricio Pochettino this season. The 2 Premier League matches ending as draws. Now Enzo Fernandez looks to the heavens as if he expected Cucurella to do better, or maybe he was looking at the heavens in disgust at his own pass. But in actual fact, Manchester City from the throw inside the Chelsea half have gone back into their own territory. Good start though, 11 minutes played, Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. There is a choice of listening now over on Sports Extra now and for the rest of the evening as well, as Kyle Walker loses the ball on the halfway line to Gallagher. Gallagher takes it on, Walker recovers, Gallagher onto his right foot, 25 yards out, goes for the pass square over towards the right hand side where the right back Gusto is in position. Gusto takes on Grealish, who's able to slide in, get his foot to the ball and put it behind for a corner. A little careless from Kyle Walker.
Yeah, there's been a few careless passes from Manchester City so far in this game. There's been decent pressure, as mentioned, from Chelsea, but I still wouldn't expect City to be misplacing the passes and to be misplacing their feet as they're trying to go for control and whatnot on the pitch. And I think Chelsea will be disappointed with that attack. I think they should have done more. Conor Gallagher didn't quite make his mind up earlier. Gusto didn't quite make his mind up early enough. You have to really put City on the back foot in those moments and take advantage of those mistakes.
Chelsea with the corner. Chelsea, who are 8 matches unbeaten in all competitions. It's their longest unbeaten run of the season, their longest unbeaten run under Pochettino's management. Gallagher's ready now. Here's the corner again in towards the near post, but De Bruyne is able to clear it away. Couldn't beat the first man. De Bruyne got there, and now it's Phil Foden carrying the ball forward. He slips as he passes the ball forward. A long pass. However, Alvarez is able to control it, and it was ever so tight there as he takes the ball away from Gusto, and he's managed to find a pass infield to De Bruyne. Wonderful ball to Foden. Foden round the keeper. The angle's tight. Crosses it. Cucurella heads it away. Come out to Grealish Grealish inside the penalty area. Now back to Akanji on the edge of the area. Back to Grealish, still inside the box. Chelsea scrambling, and they've scrambled it away for a corner. So close to an opening goal.
Wow, some brilliant play in there. There really was. The first crossfield pass, as you mentioned, from Phil Foden. The touch from Julian Alvarez. There was a beautiful little round the corner pass that completely threw the Chelsea defence. De Bruyne plays Foden. He tries to go around the goalkeeper.
Here they go again, taking a short corner. But then when it fell to De Bruyne near the corner of the box, he went to whip it into the near post but dragged it wide for a goal kick.
Yeah, didn't quite get the set piece right. The big chance was the one before, as I said. By the time the ball came into Phil Foden, he had an opportunity to try and finish it first time, went to go around the goalkeeper. Petrovic just got a touch on it, and then Phil Foden, all he had was a pass across the face of the goal, hoping a teammate came in. Jack Grealish was the closest, and he, not like he expected Foden to score, he was still caught on his heels, and Cucurella gets back and makes the block. Brilliant play.
I think we've probably got to give Petrovic, the goalkeeper, a bit of credit there as well. When Foden was one-on-one with him, he was able to force him wide, and in the end the angle was too tight for Phil Foden. With Jackson having been challenged, he's gone down. City are in possession, and they're going to put the ball out of play, while referee Oliver walks over to Nicholas Jackson to see how he is. Cole Palmer just comes across and inquires as well, so obviously no ill feeling after the events at Stamford Bridge the other night. Obviously all friends now, Leon?
Yeah, all friends, yeah. I think friends at the moment, won't be friends really with the result. They're both desperate to win this game, both sets of players. Just see Nicholas Jackson, a bit of frustration from the Manchester City crowd. Jackson stayed down, the game stopped, and then he gets back to his feet.
Choice of listening. I think the county championship cricket has come to an end now, so Exeter Bath will be the commentary on Sports Extra. In fact, that is just getting underway. Commentary on the Chevron. Golf on Sports Extra later. In the Women's Six Nations, it's Italy 7, Scotland 7, after England won 88-10 against Ireland earlier. Now we're going to get the latest on the delayed championship match. The Rotherham-Birmingham game in a moment, but Manchester City on the attack with Ake. He gives it out to Grealish on the left-hand side, still 0-0 here, but a couple of near things, particularly for Manchester City, who've still got it in the Chelsea right-back area. But Grealish, the pass was a little short there from De Bruyne, and then De Bruyne in with a challenge to sweep the legs away of Madueke. It's a free kick to Chelsea, halfway inside their own half. Grealish might have a problem. We'll keep an eye on him while we listen to Chris Coles at Rotherham.
It's finished. Rotherham 0, Birmingham 0. John, missed opportunity for Birmingham, who remain in relegation trouble, now 2 points clear with 2 games to go. They lack the quality to break through a resilient Rotherham, who gave plenty of effort for the returning Steve Evans. Rotherham 0, Birmingham 0.
And there is one later kick-off in the Championship, which is underway. It is QPR 0, Preston 0. And later we'll keep you up to date, of course, with Arsenal's match at Wolves, which is a 7:30 kick-off. You'll hear about that during the course of 606 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton, as Chelsea clear the ball away on the edge of their penalty area. Grealish is okay. He's back on his feet, and we're watching Nicholas Jackson, who's also all right, making ground down the left wing. Jackson being followed by Stones, takes on Stones, pulls the ball right across the 6-yard box. No one there in a dark blue shirt for Chelsea. It comes out to Madueke on the right-hand side, though. Madueke up against Ake and Grealish, and then the pass back to Gusto, and Chelsea through Fernandes go back to the halfway line to Chalobah and Thiago Silva. Mauricio Pochettino making just the one change after Monday night. So Mudryk is on the substitutes bench. Sure, we'll see him at some stage, you would have thought, with Enzo Fernandez coming back in after having to miss the match against Everton on Monday evening. Pass cross-field, out of play to throw into Manchester City, Leon Osman.
Yeah, and they look good for it. I think the shape that they're playing with today, they're like a 3-man midfield, but slightly lopsided, with Conor Gallagher left side, Fernandes and Caicedo, and a front three, which is again slightly lopsided to the right, so that Madueke is wide on that right-hand side, and Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson are quite central. Well, that was a brilliant bit of centre-forward play from Jackson, picking the ball up inside his own half, twist and turn and running so far forward. And the only person he had supporting him was Cole Palmer. He went front post. He was the only person with the pace to keep up with Nicholas Jackson there, but brilliant play from Chelsea.
So still 0-0, and I think the Manchester City fans inside Wembley here still purring at that attack, that pass from Kevin De Bruyne. That was right out of his personal top drawer, wasn't it, when he sent Phil Foden through?
Yeah, again, when he does that, the passes that not many people in the stadium see, he sees them brilliantly, he sees them before anyone else, but also has the quality to play them. There's been some really good bits of football out there on the pitch so far, but we're yet to see the opening goal. 5
Live World Service. We will also have commentary tomorrow from 3:30 on the Manchester United Coventry semi-final as Grealish plays it through to Alvarez inside the box. Alvarez, oh, brilliant, beats Chalobah. The ball across the penalty area deflects up and behind, and I think there might have been an offside in there as well. The flag is up. It's a free kick to Chelsea.
Well, it was offside because Kevin De Bruyne had made a run forward for an initial ball through from Alvarez, and he fooled everybody. He twisted back onto his left foot, had a shot far post, and actually it may have been sneaking in the far post, but it hit Kevin De Bruyne on his way. There's nothing he could do about it. It all happened so quickly. Brilliant footwork from Julian Alvarez, and unfortunate that it hit Kevin De Bruyne as it was going towards the far post.
Brilliant footwork. He beat 2 men, didn't he? He beat Chalobah and another Chelsea player as well.
He beat me from here.
It was a bit like the Hungarians, wasn't it, against Billy Wright here at Wembley back in the 50s, if you remember that one.
Not quite, John.
No. Ask Mark Chapman about it at half-time. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. 20 minutes played, and Chelsea with the ball inside their own half. Chelsea, who are hoping tonight that they can knock out the holders and win through to their second domestic cup final of the season. You know, while obviously it's been a deeply disappointing season for Chelsea, but the chance to get to 2 cup finals. However, Manchester City are the ones who's standing in their way, and they've made a strong start, really, Manchester City, as I think probably everyone knew that they would, despite the events on Wednesday night.
Yeah, but Chelsea have still showed what they're capable of. They've still shown their flashes of the reasons why they potentially could get to 2 cup finals. They're a team that is developing. They're a team that is still young and still learning a lot about the game. I mean, they've got so many players under 25. They've got only Thiago Silva really that is over 25 in this game. They're developing, but they don't half show at times what they're capable of.
First goal at QPR in the 5:15 kickoff. Aaron Paul.
QPR 1, Preston North End 0. This is a howler from Freddie Woodman. Elias Chair with the crossing from the left-hand side. Butterfingers from Woodman. He tried to claim it. He dropped it straight into the path of Lyndon Dykes at the back post to tap home. Big goal in the race of survival. QPR 1, Preston North End 0.
Free kick to Manchester City on the halfway line here at Wembley Stadium. Enzo Fernandez just tripping Rodri, who crashed to the ground. So a free kick that City take back into their own half. And if you have been listening all day, you'll know that it's already been a very good day for Chelsea after their win in Barcelona in the Women's Champions League in the first leg. Here's Grealish. Grealish in from the left-hand side, into the chest of Alvarez, who tried to chest it down. Well, he did chest it down, but it bounced straight to Chelsea, who are off on the counter-attack, although Fernandez wasn't able to get the ball under control. However, he's raced to the touchline here, and he got there ahead of Bernardo Silva, and Enzo Fernandez doing ever so well, playing it infield to Jackson, who couldn't give him the ball back.
Those are the moments I'm just talking about. Players being young and still learning. Potential for a counter-attack. Enzo Fernandez works his socks off to keep the ball and keep the attack alive, and Nicholas Jackson tries a very unnecessary back heel after all of that. Rather than knowing those are the moments, just get a touch, make your pass, keep the attack alive, give the ball away cheaply.
There's been a lovely element of end-to-end in this match so far. Manchester City have probably had more of the possession, but Chelsea are threatening. But it is Manchester City with Rodri, middle of the Chelsea half. Oh, he's turned and given it straight away to Palmer, and then Palmer runs away. His former teammate, even though he's got a different coloured blue shirt on. Palmer passing it forward towards Jackson. Jackson looking for the support of Madueke on the right-hand side, and now Madueke drops his shoulder in the way that he does. Here is Palmer. Palmer's ball into the edge of the penalty area was controlled by Kyle Walker, and now it's Manchester City who come forward. That's a lovely pass forward from Rodri over the halfway line to Kevin De Bruyne, and then he's challenged by Gusto, and Gusto comes out with the ball, and De Bruyne actually just walks back now, and so there could be space here for Chelsea with Madueke. Madueke to Gusto. Gusto's ball across the penalty area is blocked, and actually the fullback strayed offside before Madueke returned him the pass.
It wasn't his fault. He'd made his run early, he set himself up at a good pace, and Madueke didn't need to delay the passes as long as he did. But you're right, you just touched on it. It's got an end-to-end feel about it. I mean, the games that they've had in the Premier League this season have been outstanding, and Chelsea certainly haven't come here to stay behind the ball. They're happy to go toe-to-toe with Manchester City, try and take advantage as soon as they win the ball back in. Sometimes they can get a basketball feel, but still no real clear-cut chance to win the game.
Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. 5 Live in the World Service. Earlier we brought you a commentary on Brentford's very convincing win at Luton. So Brentford, Chris Sutton said, virtually safe now, 35 points they have. And Burnley have a little bit of hope after their 4-1 win at Sheffield United. They are 3 points behind Nottingham Forest, who play tomorrow. Here's Foden. Foden now to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva up against Cucurella in the full-back position. Back to Walker. Walker's ball into the penalty area is headed away by a stooping Thiago Silva. And the ball rolls to the halfway line. So Manchester City will start again. John Stones, who's missed so many matches this season. There's been 26 matches in all competitions he's not played a part in for Manchester City. City and England will be hoping that he stays fully fit for the remainder of the season. There's De Bruyne, who's appeared over there, right over there on the left wing. Grealish is behind him. And Grealish, back to Stones in the centre circle, right-footed pass, shapes its way to Bernardo Silva here with his sky blue shirt outside his white shorts. Bernardo Silva, after his much talked about penalty miss on Wednesday night, then Fernandes on Rodri again. That's another foul by Fernandes on Rodri, and I think that's the point the Manchester City players are making to referee Oliver. Free kick City.
Yeah, but it's in keeping with how tight Chelsea have tried to be. Tried to make sure that City can't get that yard, can't get that space. There's a feel that if you take a touch, I'll be right on top of you. I think there was just a bit of slight concern. He just flicked the ankle, the heel away of Rodri, and he might have got his knee caught in the floor. I think it'd be okay. But stay down there, Rodri, and no one in City colours likes to see that.
Free kick then. De Bruyne to curl it in dangerously, and Jackson, as a number of players from both teams ran back into the Chelsea penalty area. It was Jackson. The ball landed in front of, and he just swept it right-footed behind for another Manchester City corner. They've taken the two that they've had so far short, haven't they? And actually De Bruyne's going over there again. This is definitely something that they have worked on for Chelsea, because it looks as though, unless they're lulling me into a false sense of security, Alvarez is actually going to swing this into the back post, but there's no one there for Manchester City. Cucurella is able to twist hair all over the place and head it out of play for a throw to Manchester City down here for Bernardo Silva.
I think they lulled you in there.
They did.
John, I think they didn't lull Cucurella. He was in a very good position there to make sure nobody could come round in that position behind him, defended it well.
Rodri picks out Grealish over the far side. Grealish is bowling, chance now, Bernardo Silva, and somehow Cucurella was able to keep it out, although the flag was up against Bernardo Silva. What a lovely move that was from Manchester City. Rodri's pass to Grealish on the left was absolutely smashing, and then Grealish curled it into Bernardo Silva, who was inside the 6-yard box, but offside, Leon.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Bernardo Silva offside. I think, watch it again, maybe Phil Foden was offside centrally, and having tried to dip his head at it, assistant referee gave him offside. But Bernardo Silva did well around the back to get it back on target. It was absolutely fantastic defending from Cucurella, as you said, somehow keeping that ball from going into the back of his goal.
You're absolutely right, Leon, and I think he was interfering. Foden wasn't in an offside position.
Yeah, as soon as he dips his head at it, you know, you have to say that when you're central, you're probably 4 or 5 yards out. I think you're definitely interfering with play. Players react from it. It might only be half a second in so, but that's big time when you're in the middle of that penalty area.
Interfering, or active, to use the correct terminology. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. I've learned one or two things about the laws of football this week after Aston Villa's penalty shootout the other night.
Did you know it before, or was it something you looked up, John?
I've got to confess, I did not know that. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
No. I don't think many did. Fortunately, the referee did.
Yeah, as long as the official
did. So, well done him. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. And of course more reaction to all of the various events at half-time in this match. And it's flown by so far, almost half an hour played. Chelsea with Thiago Silva. Did wonder whether he... Oh, ball played forward now from Enzo Fernandez, and it's to Jackson, and Jackson's away from the defenders, and he's around Ortega, but he took it too wide, lays it back to the edge of the box, and he passed it straight into the path of Ake, who was able to clear when he was trying to pick out Palmer.
Well, I'm not sure opportunities come much bigger than that, especially when you're playing against Manchester City. John Stones was adamant it was offside, but I thought Nicholas Jackson bent his run brilliantly. He tried to stay in his own penalty area, through ball, runs through from the halfway line, time to bring it back onto his right foot, steady himself, look like he's opening his body up to finish far post, goes around the goal, chops it to go around the goalkeeper, defenders recovering, and then just takes forever and then misplaces a pass as well. What a chance.
Here's Palmer through the middle for Chelsea though, slips the ball to the left hand side to Cucurella, whose ball across is deflected, but deflected closer to Ortega, who's able to drop on it, the Manchester City goalkeeper. But going back to when Jackson went through there, now he did go around the goalkeeper as Foden did earlier, but for Foden the angle was just too tight. For Jackson there, I thought left foot, score.
Yeah, I was supposed to say he didn't trust his left foot, and at this level that's embarrassing to say. I've got to be honest, he went onto his left foot. If he tries it, every chance he scores.
Grealish through for De Bruyne inside the box, wriggles away from the sliding defender, but in came the covering challenge to block it behind for a corner. Kevin De Bruyne, excellent turn of pace from him, 33 this summer. He very nearly got to that.
Yeah, this is a good game. The only surprise is we haven't seen the opening goal. Both teams have had good chances now. Both teams will feel that they should be on the score sheet. Great pass from Jack Grealish there.
It's the short corner again, Leon. Grealish with the cross this time. Blocked by, tried to find Akanji, but that was cleared away. I didn't say it this time. They didn't lull me or lure me. It's out of play for a throw on the far side for Manchester City. And more paper planes are thrown down by the Chelsea fans, aiming, no doubt, for Manchester City players. Here is De Bruyne, who reverses a pass to Ake. Ake's cross actually hits Ake again when it came off the defender. Akanji now to Ake, but a stretch from him with the left foot, can't get there, can't reach it, and it's through for a goal kick. So Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0, and we are now beyond the half hour. If you've just got back into your car and have missed some of the main points today that were decided in League One, Fleetwood have been relegated. Their relegation is confirmed. Port Vale are relegated as well, and Derby will have to wait a little longer, even though they beat Cambridge, because Bolton and Peterborough both won. And in League Two, Sutton not down yet, but on the brink of relegation after Crawley snatched a last-minute draw. But more on that and the rest of today's events at half-time in this match. The FA Cup semi-final. It's been, as I say, Leon, a difficult couple of days for the competition. You know, so many people have had their say about the scrapping of the replays for next season. Here's Grealish, runs his foot over the ball back to Bernardo Silva, and it comes to Rodri. Excellent flow to this game. Manchester City on the attack here. It's actually Chelsea who are parked a la Real Madrid in their defensive third. Then Foden and Cucurella together. The ball rattles between them. Both of them appeal. Foden's convinced that should have been a corner. The assistant says goal kick.
Yes, backed up by Michael Oliver. I think he was initially the first person of the officials to point that it was going to be a goal kick. But you're right, it's been a competitive game. And Chelsea have defended quite well. I've seen Manchester City really put teams on the back foot and stretch them and find gaps, and I find in one or two moments City, but not really dominating this game like we see them do in Premier League matches.
Just had a message from one of our TV colleagues, indeed a former radio colleague of ours, Charlotte Nichol, former football producer for BBC Radio, who is working for BBC One today. She says that Cole Palmer has actually got some strapping on his leg. We can't see it because his shorts, his socks are pulled right up to the level of his shorts. So there's maybe a little issue with Cole Palmer. They certainly wouldn't want to miss him today. 11 goals now in his last 6 appearances. Joint top scorer in the Premier League. City Rodri winning the ball back, then Foden, now Bernardo Silva moving to the edge of the area. Oh, left-footed curling effort. He's got that all wrong. He had options, but he went for goal and he miscued it well wide and high of the far post.
Yeah, the first half's been a little bit like that for Manchester City, and it's only because of the standards that we're used to seeing from Manchester City. They're usually perfect in everything we do, and we've seen a couple of slips, a couple of misplaced passes, a couple of efforts that don't even go close. You know, those kind of moments. They've still had moments of brilliance as well, but more moments of lacking quality than I'm used to seeing.
Cole Palmer, first time pass, what a pass as well to Gusto's ball across, looking for Jackson, only half cleared. Madueke, chance from the angle, but that's blocked by a diving defender. John Stones in there, and Manchester City have dealt with it, but Chelsea causing real problems there. And it all, ball across the City penalty area, but Stones just in there ahead of Jackson. But that all came, Leon, from a super first time pass. Real vision, wasn't it, from the young man Cole Palmer, who's actually then dispossessed by his former teammate. Although the referee is... What's he stopped play here for? What's happened here? In fact, is the ball flat?
They're changing balls, and to be honest, the way Michael Oliver just threw that ball across the pitch, it didn't seem to have any real bounce to it. Did seem to like it lost a bit of air.
Well, it's had plenty of bounce when Cole Palmer hit that pass.
Yeah, brilliant. And he saw the third man run from Gusto, and as he played it across to Nicholas Jackson, it was a shame from Chelsea's point of view, and it was Kyle Walker making the recovery run, and it fell to Madueke. He had to hit it first time but didn't.
Now Manchester City come forward again. Rodri goes for goal as players converge on him from either side, Fernandes and Malo Gusto, and his shot went flying high away wide of the Chelsea goal and behind for a goal kick. Enzo Fernandez's energy has been very much in evidence, hasn't it?
Yeah, I was literally just about to say it's been an impressive first half from Chelsea, the effort, the energy. I'd be interested to see how long they can maintain this, because what they've done in this first half, I'd be surprised if they can keep this up past 70, 75 minutes in. I suppose they'd probably want to have something to hang on to at that point.
There's Cucurella, Chelsea playing it out from the back heel by Gallagher, that's lovely. Jackson, first time pass, Cucurella, Caicedo's making ground through the middle, but miscontrolled it, might bounce back to him. No, John Stones is able to come across, still in the area though. Madueke, bouncing ball, trying to get it down. He's got support over there from Gusto, City, it's now City who've got everyone behind the ball. Really, it's been a fascinating match so far, and they've gone pretty much toe to toe. And here they are with it on the right-hand side. It's Chalobah who's joined the attack. Back to Palmer. Lovely turn from Palmer. Left foot shot saved by Ortega. Superb from Palmer. Outstanding.
Yeah, I thought Chalobah had the ball wide. I thought, why is he not whipping this across the face of the goal? The obvious reason was Cole Palmer wasn't in there. So he picked his playmaker out in the corner of the penalty area. A great bit of skill to go around. I think it was Rodri. I thought there was a question whether Rodri had caught Cole Palmer, but he didn't go down. He carried on, tried to pick his spot in the far post, but I think he didn't catch it as sweetly as he would have liked, and Ortega was able to make the save. But whenever he's involved in the play, whenever he's anywhere near the ball, he looks like he's the player that is going to unlock the gate today. He looks like he's the player, whether it be with an assist or whether it be with his finishing himself. He's going to score, be involved in the opening goal.
Leon, there was a very good reason Rodri didn't impede him, and that was because he couldn't catch him. How much will he have enjoyed that? Palmer around the great Rodri.
Yeah, I mean,
beat him all ends up.
Yeah, it was a lovely first touch with his left foot, and then another quick one, and that's what can catch defenders out. Defenders quite often think you'll have a touch, you'll have another touch. If you have a couple really quickly and you're moving the ball in those moments and manipulating it and changing the course of the flow of the ball, defenders find it difficult to keep up.
If he'd been able to score that would have been a really memorable Wembley goal, for part of the fact that it was Rodri who he went round. He'll have done that in training a few times, won't he, on the City campus.
It was a pass of a finish rather than a whip or a strike through the ball. He needed a lot more power to generate a lot more power to beat Ortega from there. Went for that precision pass, and goalkeeper read it. Good play.
hugely admirable, isn't it, that Palmer, with all of the talk there is about him and all of the buzz, as De Bruyne curls the ball forward, but that will bounce all the way through to goalkeeper Petrovic, that Palmer can come into an occasion like this, an FA Cup semi-final, having already been brilliant for Chelsea against Manchester City this season, and performing the way that he has, looking utterly as though, there's no pressure on his shoulders whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think, just like the argument I have over Phil Foden, he's so much more involved in the game, Cole Palmer, when he's playing central as he is today, and he can just run all over the pitch and pick the ball up wherever he feels he's being dangerous, rather than when you play wide, you kind of have to wait for the ball to come your way.
Well, here's the other Manchester City youngster you're talking about, Foden. Does well over there on the left-hand side, but Rodri's pass overhit all the way through to the goalkeeper. Still 0-0, but if you're on the way home, this is well worth switching on to BBC One when you get back, because it's been very entertaining, even though we're waiting still for the first goal. Chelsea in possession. Manchester City and Chelsea so familiar. Their supporters as well. I mean, how many times they've had to come to Wembley to watch their teams, and it might be difficult for many of the City supporters to get back tonight with it being a 5:15 kick-off, but here they all are, and there really are not too many empty seats around the stadium. Think of the expense that there is, which is very much a subject of discussion over the course of the last couple of days about the FA Cup and supporters. Fernandes, long crossfield pass. Madueke does well over there on the right-hand side. He's taking on Ake. He plays it back. Gusto's cross overhead, and that is just chested back by Walker at the back post to his goalkeeper, Ortega. So 0-0 it remains, the score. Leon Osman.
It was the one position that Chelsea didn't have anybody. Good play, good crossfield pass from Enzo Fernandez. Madueke showed ridiculous pace to keep it in. And Chelsea, as they have done all first half, got people into the penalty area. They just didn't have anybody right round the back, and fortunately for Chelsea, that's where Gusto put the cross.
So it is Manchester City who bring the ball out from the back as we still wait for the first goal of this season's FA Cup semi-finals. Dramatic first Scottish Cup semi-final earlier. Celtic going through on penalties in the end against Aberdeen. We'll have coverage of Rangers Hearts tomorrow. All the day's top sport and commentary as well on the second FA Cup semi-final, but also Everton Nottingham Forest from 1:30 and Fulham Liverpool from 5:30. Don't put your hands on your head when I mention Forest and Everton, Leon.
Let's concentrate on this one, John. We'll get to that one tomorrow.
Yes, let's park that one for the time being. I see as Manchester City come forward with the ball on the right-hand side, with Walker, who's forced back to the halfway line. One of our BBC colleagues from the website, from the football writers, Shamoun Hafiz, has referred to that match tomorrow as El Deductico. Here is Grealish up against Gusto, then Foden slips it through to Brunner, tried to give it back, and Foden's saying that he was blocked on the edge of the area, therefore couldn't get there, but referee Oliver has nothing to do with that. Now Alvarez, and back to Rodri, who manages to find some space, and then to Foden, who I think was just clipped. He was trying to take it away in that classic Foden way of his, wriggling away from his opponent, and Caicedo maybe just caught his leg. Down went Foden, free kick to Manchester City.
Yeah, he's gone down like he's in a lot of pain, Phil Foden. Brilliant the way he takes the ball. He's so elegant in the way he takes it on the back foot, lets it come across him, the way he moves and glides with the ball forward. I'm just seeing it again. Yeah, it's not a great one, that, from Caicedo. He just lashes out and kicks him in the knee. That one should have been a yellow card there, really. It's not. I don't think he's brandished one yet, the referee, but that was one that definitely deserved one. Phil Foden on the ground, holding his knee.
Yeah, it wasn't a clip, was it? It was a kick.
Not at all, it was a swipe kick. Because he couldn't let him get away. It was a great take on the back foot. Gusto had just found himself out of position. He was driving towards the corner of the penalty area. Phil Foden, I can see the panic from Caicedo.
He's all right though, Foden. He's on his feet, didn't need treatment. And actually, Foden's going to take the free kick beyond everyone. Cheers from the Chelsea fans as it lands, actually, I think, over the white line beyond the far post, and it's a goal kick. So Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. So yes, stay with us on 5 Live half-time. We will have more on today's top sport. All of the reaction, or some of the reaction, not all of it, with Mark Chapman, who will be on Match of the Day tonight. So the highlights Match of the Day tonight as well, anytime on the iPlayer. Chelsea have lost the ball, they've given it away, playing it out from the back. De Bruyne on the edge of the area, shouts from the Manchester City fans. He was challenged right on the edge of the box, and he stayed down, Kevin De Bruyne. There were two Chelsea defenders came in on him, but no free kick. And Fernandes for Chelsea, right-footed ball out towards the far side, a double deflection. It was out of play actually before Madueke got the touch, and the Manchester City players are just looking to the referee and saying, how about that for a free kick on Kevin De Bruyne? And then Grealish, then he's brought down, and referee Oliver's got the yellow card out this time, and that is the first booking of the match, and it is Caicedo.
Yeah, the Kevin De Bruyne one did look like a free kick in the D on the edge of the penalty area. The referee has tried to allow play to go on as much as he possibly can today, even, as we said moments ago, not booking Caicedo for one that should have been, but this time he really didn't have much choice. Grealish tried to play a 1-2 around Caicedo. He stuck his right arm out, hugged him in, dragged him back, brought him to the ground, and the referee has to book you for that.
Yellow card for Caicedo, who was an FA Cup semi-final loser with Brighton last season. Free kick played in by De Bruyne, headed away by Chelsea, headed further away by Jackson, but groans from the Chelsea supporters. He headed it straight to Bernardo Silva, so Manchester City in possession again. We've had the first 45 minutes now, 2 minutes of added time. That's what's been announced over the loudspeakers. With the sun coming out at Wembley Stadium, Foden in possession, beats Gallagher on the edge of the box. Bernardo Silva now trying to curl it across, hits Cucurella, bounces back to Bernardo Silva to De Bruyne. De Bruyne, well, rather unusually for Kevin De Bruyne, that was neither one thing nor the other. It just floated harmlessly away through for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was as if he didn't make his mind up, which is, as you mentioned, unusual for him. It was it was the pace of a cross. It was in the direction of neither, really, was it? So I think Chelsea will be pleased that they were not let off the hook in that situation, but they were coming under a little pressure just before half-time. City had them on the back foot, and actually now they're able to get up to the halfway line and get out.
So it remains Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. Here's Cole Palmer. Foden, though, steps in, wins the ball back from his fellow Manchester City academy youngster. And then Kyle Walker in the white boots passes it over the halfway line to Bernardo Silva. Lots of movement now in the stands. We can see lots and lots of empty red seats as people are lured towards the attractions of Wembley Stadium. Here's Gusto. One last attack maybe for Chelsea in the first half. Plays it back to Caicedo. Had to be sharp, but he was. And then so was Fernandes. And now Gusto passing it to Gallagher. Gallagher approaching the left side of the penalty area, moving infield or into congestion. And then back to the number 8, Fernandes. Palmer, tight area, puts his foot on it with one side, passes it back to Caicedo. Madueke near the right corner of the box now against Grealish. And it's Manchester City who are pinned back in there for the final seconds of this first half. Still 0-0 in the FA Cup semi-final. And Chelsea go all the way back towards the halfway line. Yeah, there we are, 0-0. And Pep Guardiola and Mauricio Pochettino turn away almost like in perfect symmetry round the advertising hoardings, and then come together to walk down the tunnel shoulder to shoulder. And that matches the situation of the match. It's been very enjoyable, and certainly Chelsea have not been cowed by Manchester City at all.
No, not at all, and both managers will be keen to get into the dressing room to try and come up with the way to get their team the opening goal, to get their team over the line. Both managers will feel that the game is there for their teams, as they should, because I think it's been a very good game of skill. I think it's been a very good game of quality. They haven't quite got that opening chance, but it's been really good tactical battles all over the pitch as well that we've seen. So yeah, really good first half. Can't wait for the second half to start. It's on a knife edge.
Half time here at Wembley. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0.
Here are your football headlines from the day so far. Leicester 2... Oh, hang on, let me start with the Premier League. That would help. In the Premier League, Brentford looked to be safe. They beat Luton 5-1. Big win for Burnley as well. 4-1 at Sheffield United. Wolves against Arsenal is at 7:30. Leicester are 2 points clear at the top of the Championship. They beat West Brom 2-1. Fourth place Southampton lost 2-1 at Cardiff. In League One, Fleetwood and Port Vale have both been relegated. Derby aren't up yet, despite beating Cambridge United. They'll need a point on the final day. In League Two, Sutton are still in the Football League for now. They drew against Crawley. Colchester were beaten. In the National League, final day of the regular season today, Halifax got the final playoff spot. Boreham Wood were relegated. In the Scottish Cup, Celtic beat Aberdeen on penalties to make it through to the final. Dundee United are all but champions of the Scottish Championship after beating Ayr. They need one more point to make it official. Partick are guaranteed a playoff spot. Spartans get the final playoff spot in League Two. And Chelsea's women have a 1-0 lead after the first leg of the Champions League semi-final in Barcelona. Erin Cuthbert got the winner. Barcelona's first defeat at home in 5 years. A couple of other tea time games as well as the FA Cup semi-final. Let's go into the Championship in England. QPR against Preston. Aaron Paul.
Preston North End 0. A lucky strike from Lyndon Dykes. The difference here in what's been a really good watch. Rangers started the better of the two teams. Lucas Anderson drilling a half volley just wide. Asmir Begovic, meanwhile, produced a cracking save to deny Preston's Liam Miller. But a clanger from his opposite number, Freddie Woodman, gifted Rangers the lead. Elias Chair's cross too hot to handle. Woodman dropped it with Dykes on hand at the back post to pounce. QPR ahead and 45 minutes away from a huge step towards survival. At the break, they lead Preston North End by a goal to 0.
In Scottish League One, just past the half-hour mark, Cove Rangers 0, Alloa 1, and the significance of that is that Alloa will book their playoff spot in Scottish League One this afternoon if they win that game. Plenty of reaction to the day's football and the other sport as well during half-time of the FA Cup semi-final. After the news with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
American politicians are due to start voting on a multi-billion-pound package of military aid for Ukraine. Republicans have been delaying the measure for the past 6 months, but their leader in the House of Representatives has now agreed the bill can be debated. Officials in the Central African Republic say 58 people have died in a boat accident on a river near the capital, Bangui. Most of the 300 passengers on the overcrowded ferry were travelling to attend a funeral at the time. The outgoing head of the government's climate change watchdog says Rishi Sunak has set back the cause of tackling global warming in the UK. Chris Stark of the Climate Change Committee has told the BBC the Prime Minister hasn't prioritised the issue like his predecessors and says the country is falling behind others. The government says targets have to be met in a sustainable way. And Taylor Swift's new album has broken the record for Spotify's most streamed album in a single day. The Tortured Poets Department was released yesterday.
BBC 5 Live.
The home of Formula One.
Max Verstappen back on top in Formula One, wins the Japanese Grand Prix.
The cars just got better and better for me throughout the race. Couldn't have been any better.
Ferrari just couldn't challenge the reigning champions this time around.
Next up, Formula One heads to China for the first time in 4 years.
Shanghai International Circuit.
Sunday morning from 8.
Listen to live coverage of every lap
on 5 Live
and BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Let's bring you some reaction to the day's football. We'll start at Kenilworth Road. Brentford beating Luton 5-1. That pretty much ensures their Premier League survival. They're in 14th at the moment, 10 points above this afternoon's opponents. Here's Thomas Frank.
Yeah, since we come up the first season, we always wanted to be an asset to the Premier League and want to develop and do well. I also know that this league is relentless, so there's these 7-8 teams that are fighting for the top 6 and so on. The rest of us, we are fighting to stay from 17th and then in a regular season maybe 7 or 6 or whatever you can. And we are in that bracket. So it's always important to stay in the league, but it can't be enough, because if you only have that aim, then your time will die and you'll not constant develop. So for me, it's equally important that we now are 5 games unbeaten. The next 4, I want to continue the momentum, and I want to carry that into next season.
A lot of noise coming from your dressing room as I walked in here, a lot of cheering going on. What was being said in there?
There were just a couple of things. There was, I think, a big landmark. Vitaly Janelt played his 100th game in the Premier League, and the first player, I think, for Brentford to do that. So that was big. Matthew had a few words in there because he's right. This league, you never know. I think it's every season we play in the Premier League is good, even that we won more. And then they were shouting for 3 days off. But
did they get them?
No.
John Southall with Thomas Frank. A tough afternoon then for Luton and Rob Edwards.
A very difficult afternoon, really disappointing. As good as Brentford were, we were probably equally as poor. And I've not had to say that very often, if at all, this year. And for it to happen at this stage of the season in a really important game, there just seemed a lack of intensity in our transitions and our defensive work. And that's all over, that's everyone.
Well, that must be so frustrating for a manager when you prepare all week and then, for a game of this magnitude.
Yeah, and look, we're human beings and we get things wrong. And obviously I'll shoulder the responsibility and blame. But yeah, we just weren't good enough in key moments of the game. We didn't run hard enough, we didn't close spaces quick enough. Third goal was a set play, first contact. It was just not us.
Did you say to the players afterwards, because obviously you've got a great spirit here, haven't you? But this is going to be hard to get over, isn't it?
Well, it should be, and we've got to use it now as fuel, because look, we've had a lot of good performances, not great results all the time this season, but a lot of good performances that we can take heart from this year, and have got us into this position where we're in the fight. So what do we want to do now as a group, as a club? Do we want to just go down with a whimper, or do we want to show that spirit and that fight that we've shown all throughout the year? Today was a bad day. We have to just make it a bad day and respond next week.
In the other Premier League 3 o'clock kickoff, Burnley's 4-1 win at Sheffield United moved them within 3 points of safety. Vincent Kompany is with Martin Fisher.
Vinny, congratulations on the win. How important was it for Burnley today to get 3 points, just to give you that chance of creating some momentum to get out of the bottom 3?
It's important every week, and it was important for Sheffield as well. I guess that's the urgency we need to bring to every game, and I mean, God, we could have had so many more points, and we're not going to look back at this, but we can look forward at the fact that every game, at the start of the game, we shouldn't have any fear. We should just go for it.
And I just wonder finally, Vinny, whether or not the fact that so many people have written off Burnley this season and said, well, they're not going to get out, does that help you in terms of creating a siege mentality that we can prove them all wrong?
Yeah, I don't have the gift of getting sidetracked by this. Unfortunately, I just really don't care. The main thing I care about is that the team fights, the team keeps going, that we play with no fear, and that we focus on our own, if you'd like to say development. I'm not saying development because, we have the luxury of just developing, but it's more, this is where for us we get the results from, the fact that we get better, and that's my focus.
That was Vincent Kompany. Match of the day, 10:20 tonight on BBC One. There is a tea time game, well, an early evening game rather. Wolves against Arsenal will be at Molineux before we head back to Wembley. Celtic are in the Scottish Cup final after beating Aberdeen on penalties. The match finished 3-3 after extra time. Joe Hart actually missed what would have been the winning spot kick in the shootout, before then saving from Killian Phillips. Here's Brendan Rodgers with Jonathan Sutherland.
Brendan, I think I know the answer to this, but did you enjoy that as much as we enjoyed it?
No, it was awful. Need the therapy session after that. Oh my God, what a game for neutrals watching.
Absolutely.
But great spirit, and obviously credit both teams. Aberdeen done fantastic. Nothing to lose, but came and played really well. We had to dig in after a slow start, but just happy to be in the final.
Was there a frustration, Brendan, the team, you had opportunities obviously in normal time and then in the 120 minutes that you didn't get over the line before penalties?
Yeah, I think we had the chances, and we just needed to be a little bit more careful with the ball to arrive into the spaces, and especially the third goal in the extra time. That's exactly what you need to do, and work, bring yourself up the pitch, shorten the game, get into the spaces and make them work, and it brings us to another final.
Brendan Rodgers there. Rangers Hearts, the other semi-final, that's at 3 o'clock. tomorrow afternoon. Let's go to Molineux then. Arsenal could go back to the top of the Premier League tonight. It's a 7:30 kick-off. John Bennett.
Hi Mark, yes, suddenly this looks like one of Arsenal's biggest games of the season after an extremely tough 8 days with that Champions League exit, that Premier League defeat to Aston Villa. No room for error now for Mikel Arteta's side. A win, as you say, would take them back to the top of the table, put some pressure back on Man City. Drop points would bring back talk of yet another end of season collapse. The team news will be interesting. No new injury concerns, but tired legs, of course. Wolves, meanwhile, they know a win would take them into the top half of the table. They have serious injury problems. 10 outfield players are fit. So that's all there is, apparently. And a 15-year-old is set to be brought into the squad today. They've lost their last 5 matches against Arsenal.
Thank you very much, John. Plenty of updates on that game during 6:06 with Chris and Robbie. Here's Robbie.
Thanks, Chappers. Yeah, obviously the big discussion this week, Chappers, FA Cup replay. So I'm sure myself and Chris and all the listeners and the calls will get into the fact, no more FA Cup replays on this game. Who's going to go through, City or Chelsea? Burnley, what a win for them, Chappers. They've got a real opportunity now. Is it 3 from 4? Looking forward to it, mate. 08285 909 693.
OK, that's at the conclusion of the FA Cup semi-final. We'll be back at Wembley shortly. England demolished Ireland 88 points to 10 in the Women's Six Nations to make it 4 wins out of 4. Natasha Dow and Ellie Kildunn both scoring hat-tricks. England running in 14 tries. Here is Kildunn.
We're so happy to put in front of this amount of crowd at a home stadium and to put on a show. I don't even know what this 88-10. I mean, no discredit to Ireland, but we really turned it on when we needed to, and they just kept on coming. It became running rugby. Everyone knew the role, and it was enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
And you're very well placed to go on and complete a Grand Slam now. How much are confidence levels so high that now becomes a reality for you?
Yeah, I mean, a game like today, I keep saying about confidence, it just leads into the next week, but we don't think too far ahead. We've just got to focus on the now, and let's take in what's just happened. 48,000 people coming to watch us play, so by next week it's going to be probably 48,000 French fans, so we're taking it in as it comes.
And they are 6 points ahead of France, who travel to Wales tomorrow. Harry Kane's just scored for Bayern Munich in their game in the Bundesliga against Union Berlin. Obviously, the title long gone for Bayern, but they lead by 2-0. The Chevron Championship, first women's major of the season, is fascinatingly poised going into day 3. The leaders are underway. Ian Carter's on the outskirts of Houston.
Yes, tea time's brought forward because of the threat of thunder and ominous-looking clouds gathering overhead as we speak, Mark. But Nelly Korda still very much on course for a tilt at a record-equalling 5th successive LPGA victory and a second major. She's just 1 shot off the lead at 8 under par. Ataya Titikul, playing partner, playing the 4th as we speak, is the player out in front at 8 under par. But from a British point of view, Gemma Driver showing up very, very nicely. The Scot at 6 under par is just 3 shots off the lead. Lottie Wode's still going nicely as well, the British amateur, at 4 under.
We ought to point out, Ian, the course is on the outskirts of Houston, isn't it? It's not that you're not allowed into the city. We've just left you miles away. And you're doing commentary later?
Yes, 8:30. We're on 5 Sports Extra for the back 9. So we've got everything crossed weather-wise.
Good stuff. Right, day 1 of the World Snooker. Judd Trump in action. Jamie Broughton very much in the thick of it.
Absolutely, and the 2019 champion Judd Trump, one of the favourites, starting his campaign to win a second world title, and he played well this afternoon. He knocked in 5 breaks over 50, and he leads Hossein Vafai by 6 frames to 3 after the opening session of play. On the other table, Ali Carter finished 5-4 up against Stephen Maguire. They return tomorrow, and at 7 o'clock tonight, the defending champion Luca Brissell plays his match against David Gilbert to a finish. Brissell is 6-3 up with 10 the target for victory.
Still waiting for the teams to come back out at Wembley. Manchester City may be just out, just seeing in the background of the shots. Chelsea coming out now. I suppose Leon Osman, both sides might feel that they should be ahead at the break.
Yeah, both teams have implemented their game plan pretty well. Both teams have had chances. Both teams will look at opportunities maybe they could have made more of, but yeah, I think the managers were happy to get the teams in at half-time because this game is there for either team that can just raise their levels just by a touch.
Here's John Murray.
However, there is some significant news, isn't there, Leon? Because Ruben Diaz is out there and we cannot see John Stones. And I think you did spot right at the end of the first half that Stones might have had another problem. And yeah, there's the confirmation. John Stones is replaced at half-time. And yet again this season, John Stones seems to have picked up some kind of problem.
Yeah, I actually thought it came about 15-20 minutes into the game. I thought there was a notable change. I thought Akanji was playing deep, Stones was stepping into midfield, and all of a sudden they rotated and Stones was finding himself at the back to try and limit the ground that he was running over, and that left him exposed against Nicholas Jackson at times, and Chelsea nearly took advantage of it, so they've made the sub.
The second half begins with the score Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. So City making the change. Obviously it won't disrupt them massively. It's more really what it might mean for John Stones when we find out from Pep Guardiola later what the extent of that is, as Kyle Walker cleared the ball away, but also in his follow-through caught Conor Gallagher. And Manchester City now put the ball out of play because actually Gallagher just at that point got back onto his feet, so it is a throw-in to Chelsea on the halfway line. Let me run you through the teams then, with Diaz replacing John Stones. Ortega is in goal, as he has been all the way through the FA Cup for Manchester City. Now the back four is Walker, Diaz, Akanji and Ake. So as Leon suggested, I'm sure we'll see Ake step forward into midfield alongside Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden in the central areas, Bernardo Silva on the right, Grealish on the left, and Julian Alvarez up front in place of the absent, injured Erling Haaland. I suppose played back to Ortega, who clears it. There's an awkward ball back to him. Madueke, left foot, but high over the top of the angle of post and bar, probably by 5 or 6 yards actually. So it is a goal kick to Manchester City. And Chelsea are, as they started, with Petrovic in goal, Gusto, Chalobah, Thiago Silva and Cucurella, with Caicedo and Fernandes, Gallagher, Madueke and Jackson, with Cole Palmer. So Leon Osman, former Everton and England midfielder, what we want, I suppose, for neutrals is the same sort of action as the first half, with a few goals, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose for the neutral, probably a Chelsea goal first would open up this game even more. I think if Manchester City get the opening goal, they'll start dominating possession, and Chelsea will have to work even more hard to get the ball back.
Well, here come Chelsea. They're looking for it. Gusto on the attack, but it's very congested down in the Chelsea left-back area. Gusto trying to win a throw-in. He's failed to do that. And then Foden challenged by Madueke. It's Ake who comes out with the ball, but then Alvarez got it caught up underneath his feet. Palmer is in on the challenge. It's still very, very congested here, just down below our commentary box. And then it breaks to the halfway line, where Fernandes gets crucial touching. He's been very good, Fernandes. Ball played through to Jackson. No offside flag yet. Jackson, though, is forced wide. Plays it back to Cucurella behind him. And then Cucurella will pass it back towards the halfway line. Still hundreds, possibly thousands of people not returned to their seats yet around Wembley Stadium. And that would be awful, wouldn't it, to miss some of the important, crucial action, because you just wanted to get that drink. De Bruyne through the middle, but that's cut out by Caicedo, and then Gallagher, and here's Fernandes breaking forward, gives the ball out to the left-hand side. Conor Gallagher is there and then passes it back to Cucurella behind him. Chelsea, first choice kit, the royal blue shirts and shorts, white socks with the gold trim, the badges glittering, as Gallagher plays it through. Jackson with a chance. Ortega goes down, makes the save with his left hand, and he had to as well. Palmer, his cross to the back post, headed down by Jackson, but saved on the line by Ortega. It was straight at him, the header from Jackson from just a few yards out, but he couldn't direct it either side of him. Two important saves from Ortega in the space of a matter of seconds, Leon Osman, to keep it 0-0.
Huge saves, absolutely huge. I'm not sure which one was the bigger chance. They were both absolutely brilliant opportunities. Nicholas Jackson, the first one, gets through on goal exactly how you'd expect him to be, opening his body up with his right foot. And again, like I described the Cole Palmer finish in the first half, tried to pass it along the grass, lacked pace, lacked real conviction in the finish, but they got the ball back, they worked it brilliant. Great pot cross to the far post. He found himself away from the defender, just didn't make enough contact with the header, and allowed Ortega to make the save of it as it bounced down off the ground, able to flap it away with his left hand. Two huge chances for Chelsea that they will hope they don't regret come the end of this game.
Leon in the League Cup final, thinking back to that against Liverpool here at the end of February, they couldn't take their chances. They lost to Virgil van Dijk's goal right at the end of extra time. And there's another one. Well, a couple of chances that have slipped Chelsea by, and it remains 0-0. 5 Live. The World Service listeners are back with us as well for the first of this weekend's FA Cup semi-finals as Grealish brings the ball in field. He's tripped. He goes hurtling over Madueke, but Manchester City are in possession, so referee Oliver says play on. Rodri to Bernardo Silva. Now Kevin De Bruyne on the right tries to cross it, but two defenders there for Chelsea. They block it behind. Corner to the FA Cup holders, Manchester City, the 7 times winners of the competition, against Chelsea, the 8 times FA Cup winners. First corner of the second half. Many of Chelsea's corners in the first half, 4 of them were taken short. Foden though swings this into the near post, but swings it straight into the path of Jackson, who's able to clear it away. And Foden, not sure if he kept that in on the far side. He did keep it in, actually hooking it infield, but Chelsea were able to clear it to the halfway line. Bernardo Silva then plays it back into his own half, and Manchester City can start again. And for listeners on 5 Live, the lines are open now for 606 with Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton taking your calls from round about 7:30, but obviously it depends what happens here, whether we go into extra time or not. And with a scoreline of 0-0, that's entirely possible. We'll obviously keep you up to date as well with the Wolves-Arsenal Premier League match, which begins at 7:30, and then tomorrow commentary on a whole variety of football. Everton-Nottingham Forest, big game, 1:30 on 5 Live. Coventry-Manchester United here at Wembley Stadium from 3:30, and then Fulham-Liverpool, which starts at 4:30, and the commentary will be on Sports Extra and may well reappear later on 5 Live. Here is Walker, Kyle Walker for Manchester City, his second game back following injury here at Wembley Stadium. Rodri is caught in possession, and it's played forward by Gallagher to Jackson. Tried to pass it through to Palmer, but that took a deflection. He hit a defender, and Manchester City are neatly passing the ball away from the back. Out to Bernardo Silva, then back to Walker. Bernardo Silva again. Infield to Diaz, who just takes a couple of touches, and then beautifully done, Rodri to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva evades Fernandes and then passes the ball past them. He'll have enjoyed that, Bernardo Silva. Rodri, he's got some space, that could be dangerous. Rodri's pass, right-footed, Grealish takes it down with his right instep. Grealish is into the box, Grealish square, shot from Foden, saved by Petrovic down to his right. Dangerously, he pushed it back out, straight back out into the penalty area, but he was fortunate, it fell to a teammate who was able to clear it. Manchester City, their first big chance of the second half. De Bruyne now curling it in, dangerously took a deflection. Thiago Silva at the near post, corner Manchester City.
Yeah, that's more like Manchester City. Pep Guardiola for 2 or 3 minutes before was throwing his arms about, trying to get Manchester City to switch the ball out to Jack Grealish. He obviously saw the opportunity down in front of us. Because of that, that's where the Foden chance came from.
They've taken the corner short, City on the right, Foden's ball in, that's headed away by Thiago Silva, comes out to Jack Grealish. Grealish rolling his foot over the ball. Just 3 goals for him so far this season, 3 goals and 3 assists. De Bruyne now on the edge of the box, passing it straight to Gallagher, and the Chelsea captain today is able to pass it away, and then over the halfway line from Palmer. This is for Jackson to chase, really, down the left-hand side. Reinforcements arriving. Palmer, Chelsea number 20, has scored 2 goals for Manchester City this season. The first of them was here at Wembley Stadium in the Community Shield, when they lost on penalties. Here is Gusto, though, on the right-hand side. Short pass to Palmer, but Palmer's able to make the best of it. And then Madueke, the tall, leggy Madueke, is fouled by Grealish. Normally he's the man who is fouled, but he has given away a free kick in a good area for Chelsea, Leon Osman.
Very good area. I think when Chelsea have been able to compress the pitch, I think when they've been able to make it tight, I think they've been able to put pressure on Manchester City, and they've won, crucially, the battles in the smaller pitch, which I think Manchester City are probably used to winning the battles in those areas. Today it's been Chelsea. They've been sharper, they've been brighter, and they've been very committed. energy levels have been through the roof. I said again, I'm surprised if they can keep it up past 75 minutes, but at the moment they're starting to feel like there's a reward there for them.
Thiago Silva is standing beyond the defensive line. Thiago Silva, and then steps back. Palmer will strike this through the wall, but wide of the post, and they're saying, as it went through the wall, the Chelsea players are adamant to referee Oliver, and they are saying that has taken a flick and that should be a corner, and three of them were around the referee, so they've got to be careful. Chelsea, Michael Oliver as well, capable of dealing with this, which he has. He's just ignored it, and it's a goal kick to Manchester City.
It certainly looked like it was a corner kick. It looked like as the Manchester City wall broke, which was actually poor from the wall, it looked like it came off Jack Grealish. Whether it was a hip or an arm, it may have even been an outstretched left arm from Jack Grealish. And it is. I'm seeing it.
Is it a penalty?
Pochettino certainly saw it as well.
That's what they're saying. They're saying that struck the arm, but I think it deflected off the body of Grealish onto his arm, Leon.
We've just had one very quick look at it. I'd like to see it again, probably as many times as VAR have looked at it. I think there's certainly a question to be asked there whether that was a penalty kick.
Yeah, that will be a talking point, certainly. Well, it certainly will be if Manchester City go through. So they've had a look at it. VAR had a look very quickly, rather in the manner of the Champions League VAR checks. They've had a look, said no. And I think it did deflect off his... I think it sort of deflected off his hip onto his arm, which was slightly away from his body. But big appeal from Chelsea. Here's Grealish on the left-hand side. Grealish gets the ball down in the full-back position. Takes on Gusto. Left-footed cross to the back post. Cucurella's under that. Headed it up to the edge of the box. Headed back in by Akanji. And then the referee spots an infringement. Actually, the flag's up on the far side for offside as well. And it is a Chelsea free kick. So it remains 0-0, Leon, and we've played, 12 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, and again, when you watch Manchester City, as often as we all have done, they do control games an awful lot, and they haven't had that control here against Chelsea. And Chelsea are very much in the game, and just seeing this set piece back again of Cole Palmer, I don't think it hits the hip first. I think it hits the left arm of Jack Grealish straight from the free kick, and I mean that definitely needs to be looked at. I mean that could potentially have been a penalty kick.
And now a yellow card centre field, and I think that's because was it Alvarez who didn't retreat. There were a couple of Manchester City players there. Chelsea took a quick free kick and it struck one of them, and Michael Oliver has shown a yellow card. Going to need to clarify that who was booked there. I think Alvarez. Just want to make absolutely certain of that. That might come into play later. Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. Lines are open for 606 then. 08, 085, 909, 693. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton taking your calls. It was Alvarez who was booked. So get in touch. Hashtag BBC 606. You can text 85058. And they will, I'm sure, be keen to hear your views on the scrapping of FA Cup replays. And also Manchester City with Akanji inside the penalty area, in a little bit of trouble there. Might have been fouled by Fernandes. City have been able to work it away. Akanji has stayed down. I think he's okay. Rodri then playing it back into the middle of the half. So Rodri through into the centre circle to Kevin De Bruyne. And what about your thoughts as well on the FA Cup for the next 6 years after this, being on the penultimate weekend of the season? De Bruyne passing it forward. 08, 085 909 693 for 606, and Chelsea win themselves a throw-in halfway inside their own half. All-important match again in the Premier League coming right up. Wolves against second place Arsenal. What's the team news, John Bennett?
Hi John, for Arsenal 3 changes. Tomiyasu, Martinelli, Jorginho drop out, Trossard, Jesus and Kivior come in. For Wolves, all sorts of injury problems. Lemina, Semedo, Cunha and Sarabia drop out. A 15-year-old Wes Okudua is on the bench.
As Jack Grealish takes the ball forward and shoots, it takes a deflection of the defender on the edge of the area, which carried it wide of goal and behind. and it is a corner to Manchester City. Chalobah turned his back on that, but was able to get a big enough block, but it is a corner from the left.
Yeah, did well to get in the way of that. Chelsea just guilty of giving the ball away in a really poor position, and Manchester City 3-on-3. Grealish chose to shoot from distance, and Chelsea will be pleased with that.
Alvarez to take this corner from the left-hand side. In it curls high to the back post, where Chalobah is able to head it away for Chelsea. Comes out to the sky blue shirts of Manchester City. Still sunshine streaking the Wembley pitch as the ball is played in from the far side by Bernardo Silva. Headed away, Grealish flicks it back to Alvarez on the left-hand side. Alvarez's cross, looking for Akanji, cleared out to Grealish. Grealish, though, is challenged on the edge of the box by Madueke, and then the ball is passed forward for Jackson. Jackson on the chase. Walker is there with him. Jackson still going. There was a little nudge. Down goes Jackson. The ball rolls behind, and Michael Oliver, the referee, trying to keep up with it, immediately said, absolutely not, no penalty. And I think that was because Jackson did not go straight down. He delayed it and then fell down.
I think it's really good experience from Kyle Walker. First of all, what a race that was between those two. Nicholas Jackson, Kyle Walker. Jackson was knocking the ball and running after it, which obviously makes you take a little bit longer to do. Yeah, I'm just seeing it's coming together. Kyle Walker nearly shoulder to shoulder. He does kind of step off. He impedes Nicholas Jackson a little bit, but just not quite enough to be a penalty kick.
Still 0-0. Now it's Manchester City coming forward at the other end. De Bruyne manages to find Grealish on the edge of the box. Grealish takes on Gusto. Grealish's ball across the 6-yard box is cleared at the near post. Chelsea defenders, 2-3 of them all came together there. Now the customary low fives after the clearance was effected out for a throw-in. Nathan Ake to the corner of the penalty area. Akanji back to Rodri. He shoots straight into the back of Enzo Fernandez, who was just outside the D. The ball bounces over there to the far side to Gallagher, who turns the ball forward but straight out of play for a throw-in to Manchester City nearer the halfway line. It is still 0-0. The choice of listening still exists, by the way. If you tune to Sports Extra now, you can hear the commentary on Exeter 0, Bath 14, so second place Bath in the Premiership. The last score I had in the Rugby League was Catalan 26, Hull KR 6, and it is Italy 7, Scotland 17 in the Women's Six Nations. 0-0 here. Nathan Ake, 15 yards inside the Chelsea half. In this second half, both sides attacking towards the ends where their own supporters are. Wembley Stadium tomorrow will be full of more Manchester United and Coventry City. Imagine how the Coventry City supporters feel today, Leon. The excitement of coming to Wembley Stadium to watch their team in the FA Cup.
Yeah, definitely deserved. I was at Molineux.
Yes, you were. I was listening to you.
And they went and put that incredible performance in there. So, yeah, what a game it was. Deserved to be in an FA Cup semi-final tomorrow.
Yes, at the time I was listening to, I was on my way to what was effectively a non-event between Manchester City and Newcastle in the quarter-final. Here's Rodri playing the ball beyond De Bruyne, who was on his heels, and it's out of play for a throw-in. And I suppose as well now, in this match, now we're into the last half hour, what is the effect of Wednesday night going to be on Manchester City? And is Pep Guardiola, who sometimes, by no means makes all of his substitutions that he can, and actually, as I say that, Jack Grealish has just gone and sat down on the pitch.
Yeah, well, Jack Grealish's position and Jack Grealish himself has actually been a bit of a thorn in Chelsea's side in the second half. The quick switch out to him and holding his position on the left-hand side and him getting at Gusto. He just ran inside there and took a heavy challenge. It's from Caicedo, and right below his shin, right on his knee. And maybe Pep Guardiola was thinking about making that change. Anyway, he does like to swap Jack Grealish and Jeremy Doku at some point in the game, and Jeremy Doku would pose a real problem to Gusto out on this left-hand side for Manchester City, but it looks like Pep might be making that change.
Yeah, he's certainly had a discussion with Jeremy Doku. Yeah, he's getting himself ready. We can see his number 11 now. Clearly, he's got his training top off, and I think that is going to be it for Jack Grealish. Manchester City have already lost John Stones today. It is Catalan 26, Hull KR 6, by the way, the latest score in the Super League. And while Grealish receives treatment, what's the latest down in West London with you, Aaron Paul.
65 minutes played here. QPR 1, Preston North End 0. Lyndon Dykes' first half strike remains the divider between these two sides, but QPR just hunting for a second that could potentially take them to a huge result in regards to survival in the Championship. John Willett, Cook, Dykes and Chair all with chances. Freddie Woodman making some less than convincing saves in between the Preston 6. QPR 1, Preston North End 0.
Yeah, that's it for Jack Grealish in this semi-final. Doku's coming on. Grealish is going to be able to walk off the field. Live sport, by the way, at breakfast time tomorrow. Commentary on the Chinese Grand Prix from 7:45. That's here on 5 Live. We'll have coverage of the London Marathon as well during the course of the morning. And actually, if you are involved tomorrow morning, BBC Sounds, you will find the Marathon Mix, which if you search Pace Setter, the Marathon Mix for your London Marathon tomorrow morning. And as discussed, the Coventry City FA Cup semi-final tomorrow. Steve Ogrizovic, the great Steve Ogrizovic, is going to be on Colin Murray's new Sunday morning programme tomorrow morning from 10 o'clock. So there we are. The change is made. Leon Doku, I thought, was very bright when he came on in the Champions League on Wednesday night. Replaces Grealish.
You know, City are getting their best moments, certainly in this second half down the left-hand side, and especially when Grealish was able to get the ball in space and drive it. Malo Gusto. So I think Jeremy Doku is perfect for that position, getting the ball out to him quick and being able to get 1v1.
Just got a stoppage at the moment while Michael Oliver is talking to Akanji and Jackson.
They just had a little coming together and pulling of shirts, a little argument, certainly a bit of frustration out there. Still doing it now. They've walked away from the referee. The referee just decided Michael Oliver will just calm them down.
They always do that, footballers, don't they? You probably did it, Leon.
I was too small to do that.
The ball's played over the top. Akanji is being... It's him again. It's Jackson and Akanji. Again, shoulder to shoulder.
If you've got a centre forward, you want him to be a handful. You want him to be pulling the defender's shirt a little bit and making it difficult, frustrating him, not letting him have time on the ball. And Nicholas Jackson's done that well today.
Yeah. With that streak in his hair. Bernardo Silva playing the ball over the top for Manchester City, for Alvarez. But that is dealt with by Thiago Silva. The ball bouncing downfield, but Ake is able to head that back to his goalkeeper. It looks like something out of some of the Marvel films, doesn't he, with that white streak in his hair, Nicholas Jackson. But he's had chances today. A chance in the first half when he went round the goalkeeper. A double opportunity in the second half.
Yeah, they've just showed that back on the replay during the Jack Grealish injury. And I mean, I think he's a real threat at times, Jackson. I think his runs are becoming really good, but he still lacks conviction. He hits his first finish into the ground. That's what made it easier for Ortega to make the save. The second one, as the cross came in, he sort of pushed at the header rather than snapping his neck at it to try and get something on it.
Crossfield pass from Walker, but too much on that, and Doku actually caught it. Throw in. Now Palmer passes it through. Caicedo. Oh no! Caicedo went for goal. In actual fact, he again, a little bit like De Bruyne in the first half, was in two minds, and I'm not sure whether that was a shot or a cross for Jackson, and in the end it was neither, and it just drifted away, and that was a real opening for Caicedo. Goal kick, Manchester City.
I think Chelsea would have liked anybody else in blue in that position, in that moment. Brilliant again from Cole Palmer, taking the ball across his body away from Akanji, who dived in, playing the pass perfectly. Caicedo just needed to play it across the penalty area to Jackson, who was coming in, and he got it all wrong in that moment.
Oh, lovely, Madueke, round Akanji, now Palmer, very tight inside the penalty area, City all around him, and they've been able to get a touch on the ball to take it away from Cole Palmer, and actually they will break away with De Bruyne. De Bruyne's ball is actually behind Foden, who had to slam the brakes on. Rodri behind him, now Rodri swirls a pass left-footed out to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva with the ball on the ground, square from him. Doku just outside the D. Doku still finding a way through. Still Doku with a low shot that was actually kicked away by goalkeeper Petrovic, more or less straight at him, but with his right foot as he went down, he actually just kicked it back from where it came out for a throw.
Yeah, it was a touch unorthodox with regards to goalkeeping, but the main thing is it didn't go past him. If I'm in Manchester City blue now, I am getting the ball to Doku as often as I can. Skip past Gusto brilliantly into the penalty area there. Didn't quite get the finish or the connection he would have liked, but looks like a good matchup for City.
It does, and here it is again. Doku beats Gusto, then into the penalty area. Alvarez back with a shot from De Bruyne, which is just wide. He tried to bend it around. I think it was Thiago Silva who was standing between De Bruyne and the goal, and he was just inside the penalty area, but he couldn't whip it in. It was beyond the far post.
Yeah, he whipped it without whip. He just seemed to set it off where he wanted it to, and it just didn't come back.
It went straight.
It went straight. Yeah, but again, just the pace from stand and start of Doku is absolutely frightening. Gusto is going to have to give him a yard. He's going to have to not get so tight to him, because Doku just beat him so simply there to start that attack that Kevin De Bruyne probably feel he should have at least hit the target with.
Two of City's best chances in recent moments there for De Bruyne, who had that big chance, having scored the goal, the equaliser against Real Madrid on Wednesday night, had the big chance to make it 2-1. This was certainly more difficult than that was. And then Doku as well with a shot that was saved. But it's still Chelsea who've had the better chances in the match. But it's City on the attack. Ake through. Akanji's ball across the edge of the 6-yard area, but Chelsea deal with that. Chalobah on the edge of the area. Now forward to Madueke, who can't bring it under control. It's out of play. Manchester City take the throw. And Chelsea feel that they had a good shout for a penalty, not given. Doku now against Gusto again, but Gusto, just as Doku was looking to cross, Gusto dived in and blocked it behind him. The ball bounces up and is bobbling around amongst the heads of the Manchester City supporters in their replica sky blue shirts. There's a few bananas in there as well, and it's a inflatable bananas, that is, and it's a corner to Manchester City once again. But Gusto is down, and he might need some treatment. And on come the Chelsea medical people. I just feel, Leon, that all of the chances, the good chances Chelsea have had, the penalty appeal, Jackson thought he had a case for a penalty, which I think was very optimistic. I just feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I'll bet you there's a lot of Chelsea fans in the stadium and listening at home, watching around the world, who probably thinking the same, that
City are going to score in a minute.
That they've seen this before, they've seen the team play well, and they've seen the team not take chances and lose big games, and this just starting to feel like that, because we know Manchester City are a team that can keep going right to the end, and they've got so much quality in their team. It only takes one of them to raise the game in one moment.
Gusto is going to have to go off, so Chelsea will have to defend this corner with 10 men. Still we wait, he's still receiving treatment. Still 0-0. Wolves Arsenal underway shortly. Still QPR 1, Preston 0 in the Championship in the 5:15 kickoff. And if you just got back into your car, really eventful day up and down the leagues all around the country. If you go to the football pages of the BBC Sport website and app, you will find all of the information and all of the stories there. Gusto walks off the field, corner. Alvarez takes it in, and it's caught underneath the crossbar. And in any case, there was a foul on Thiago Silva inside the 6-yard box, and it is a free kick to Chelsea. How long have we got to go? Less than 20 minutes. Odds shortening on extra time, Leon?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say no to a bit more of this. I've got to be honest. It's been a really good game.
No, going nowhere tonight. We've got Manchester United Coventry tomorrow. It'll be Clinton Morrison who'll be in your seat tomorrow for that. Here's Ake, who heads it forward. De Bruyne, and then headed forward again for Chelsea. Gusto is now back onto the field. Ball hits Palmer, bounces down for Jackson, 20 yards out, and then the shot from Madueke, but that's blocked by Rodri, who stepped into the path of that and deflected the ball away to the halfway line. Rodri in the right place at the right time, and then Cucurella can't keep the ball in on the far side, and it's a throw into Manchester City. So Rodri was on the losing side the other night, so in his last 67 matches now for Manchester City, he's lost twice, and they've both been penalty shootouts. Community Shield and Wednesday night.
I think that's harsh to class them as defeats. I know they have lost the game, but not in normal time, not in 90 minutes, not in us v you, that's just the toss of a coin, penalty kicks.
I'll rephrase that. His defeats have only been penalty shootouts. As I'm sure when you were on the wrong side. Sure when you were on the wrong side in penalty shootouts, Leon, afterwards, you said, well, it's only a penalty shootout.
Never lost the game, John.
Here's Rodri taking this free kick out to the left-hand side to Doku. Doku gets it down against Gusto, but he's still a long way from the penalty area, and actually turns and plays it back to Ake with his hair tied up behind his head. And now for Doku again, who went for a free kick against Gusto, and referee Oliver, I think rightly there, says no, not this time. He was looking for that, and Gusto put in a fair challenge. De Bruyne then on the halfway line. Now he might have been fouled by Madueke. In fact, that's given the other way. Free kick to Manchester City. Was that for the initial challenge on Ake? Might have been.
Oh, yes, because it felt like Ake had fouled De Bruyne.
Yeah, free kick down the left to Alvarez. Alvarez, little flick from him. Doku, it's now up against Chalobah. And then Doku again, ball deflected across the penalty area, stretch from Gallagher. Gallagher didn't clear, ball loops back into the penalty area, but too close to Petrovic. And the Chelsea goalkeeper is able to come forward and catch it quite calmly, actually.
Yeah, it was needed to. Conor Gallagher just tried to be a little bit cute on the edge of his penalty area there, gave the ball away in a poor position just for a moment. And De Bruyne thought he was getting the opening goal.
15 minutes to go. 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC, live at Wembley Stadium. Sun still shining, Chelsea coming forward, and the ball is lifted across field by Gallagher, and it's taken down by Madueke, and Gusto's making a run, and Gusto is then challenged by Akanji, who has conceded a corner, although that's being disputed. Akanji saying he deflected it back onto Gusto, and it should have been a goal kick.
Yeah, I thought it should. I thought it was a really good piece of defending. I thought the timing of the pass, Madueke was just a little bit too late, allowing the defender to come over. And Ortega's gone down now in his 6-yard box. I'm quite sure what he may be feeling.
Well, I'm not sure what's happened there. Ortega, who wasn't involved in the action there, and Ake as well has taken off his left boot. So Ake's going to need another football boot, and whether they've communicated this around or not, I don't know. That Ortega has gone down so that Ake can replace his boot.
Maybe that's it, because I think Ake maybe ripped his boot, or something happened with his boot in that challenge with Kevin De Bruyne on the halfway line before. There was a signal, the kitman's gone and got the fresh one. Well, actually, maybe he just needed time.
Michael Oliver is actually indicating that the Manchester City medical staff should come on to treat Ortega. Well, they do have Ederson on the bench after his eventful night the other evening. Ederson saving the penalty from Modric, scoring the 5th penalty. Nearly caught me out that the other night. But I was looking to the halfway line to see who was next to take the penalty for Manchester City, and then quickly glanced to my left to see Ederson was nearly ready to take the next one.
Didn't surprise me.
And he scored it brilliantly.
I mean, he's got such a sweet left foot.
He has, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if he took penalty kicks during the normal 90 minutes at times.
It's not unheard of, is it? Ortega is going to be okay. Yeah, there's the thumbs up from the blue plastic gloves of the Manchester City medical man. So play will resume with a corner then. This is Chelsea's first corner of the second half. And it remains Manchester City 0, Chelsea 0. Lines are open for 606 on 5 Live, where you can talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton.
Robbie Sutton sounded great.
Combination. Corner then to Chelsea. Gallagher to take, they curls it to the edge of the 6-yard box, just headed away. Diaz, I think, just got the touch on that with his head for Manchester City. Gusto plays it back over the top, and then Palmer, as he tried to shoot goalwards, was offside anyway, but couldn't direct it on goal. And Chelsea are going to make a double change, so Mudryk and Disasi. That's the double change, and remains to be seen which of the central defenders it will be. But first of all, it is Madueke who will be replaced by Jackson, replaced by Mudryk. So Mikhailo Mudryk, the Ukrainian, and it's Gusto actually who is going to come off, and he has received treatment, of course, Gusto. So Disasi will come on and play it right back.
Yeah, no surprise, really, I think. I think Madueke had a good first half. I think he's not been involved as much in this second half, and maybe Chelsea, with having Mudryk on the bench, even Raheem Sterling still on the bench, just having the opportunity to freshen things up. And I think Gusto found it difficult up against Jeremy Doku, and Disasi will have a go himself now. That change does bring a slight change of system, I think, for Chelsea. I think Conor Gallagher will come in the centre, Mudryk goes on the left, Cole Palmer will now come over to the right hand side.
Okay, as Manchester City have the ball at the back, Diaz clears it into Gallagher and it bounces back through for a goal kick. But Gallagher, who is down there in front of the Chelsea supporters, he has got the captain's armband on. Reece James still out injured, Ben Chilwell on the substitutes bench. So Conor Gallagher, it's quite a turn of events that, isn't it? Gallagher, who we thought might have left Chelsea last summer, we thought he might have left in January, and here he is. You know, he's a linchpin, it's an important part. This is his 39th start for Chelsea this season in all competitions, and he's captaining the team at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, well, quite often you look at your football team or other football teams and you see the players that light a game up and you see the players that destroy or make great clearances. But managers know who the most important players in their teams are all the time. They know who are leaders, who's the most important, who do the jobs that are necessary for the team. And Conor Gallagher is obviously one of those for Mauricio Pochettino.
Akanji's fouled in the centre circle, free kick to Manchester City. Rodri now carrying it forward. Here's Foden. Foden, arms whirling, chest puffed out. Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Back to Foden again with his long blue sleeve shirt. Comes out to Ake just outside the area. Ake to the left-hand side to Doku. And Doku now up against Disasi for the first time. Takes him on to the byline, cuts back onto his right foot, then back to Ake. De Bruyne just outside the box. Ake inside the area, ball across the area. Chalobah, the falling Chalobah, is able to get a foot to it to clear it away for Chelsea. It's still 0-0, and we're in the last 10 minutes of this FA Cup semi-final. Bernardo Silva now. Manchester City supporters getting behind their team, trying to roll them on to yet another final. Might be another all-Manchester final. De Bruyne just outside the box with his back to goal, to his right to Ake. Now here's Doku at Disasi again. He's inside the penalty area, and then Doku picks out Rodri on the edge of the D. Rodri takes it past one man, then gives it square. Bernardo Silva, he works it back to Akanji, and then a shot that is mishit quite badly actually by Alvarez inside the penalty area, and it balloons away up high over the top of the crossbar as the crowd is announced as 80,902. Leo.
Yeah, I mean, Manchester City, they didn't get the finish right. You were right, the finish from Alvarez was high and wide and certainly not handsome. There were 3 or 4 Manchester City players that were happy to clap the team, then that was more like them. They moved the ball from one side to the other. They pinned Chelsea in the penalty area. They kept the attack on, just waiting for that opportunity, that one slip from Chelsea, and it nearly came, the opportunity.
Yellow card for Petrovic, for, in the eyes of Michael Oliver, wasting time. So if in the ensuing penalty shootout Petrovic receives another yellow card, we know exactly what the laws are. Here is Akanji and Diaz to Ake, passes it forward to Doku, and extra time is beckoning here. Manchester City possibly going to extra time in a big match, big occasion, for the second time in 4 days. Still time though to win it, and both of these teams, they love a late goal, don't they? Well, most teams do these days. Here's Diaz, long diagonal pass to Doku, who's able to control it. Doku, then infield to Ake. Ake to Akanji. Right-footed ball to Doku again, then to De Bruyne, left side of the area, right across the box, falls to the far post, and it's in! It's been forced in by Bernardo Silva! In the 84th minute! That might be the goal that finishes Chelsea in this semi-final and sends Manchester City through to another final. There were bodies in the way, but Bernardo Silva with his left foot found a way, and it's Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0.
Well, if this goal was going to come for Manchester City, it was going to be down their left-hand side. I think that's where they've had the joy in the second half. Chelsea have tried to shore up this area and bring it on Disasi. But Manchester City take advantage of it. Doku receiving the ball. Disasi just tries to stop him, and Kevin De Bruyne just sees the space in behind Disasi. And Doku, two players coming over to them, as they have done for the last 4 or 5 minutes or so, just uses that advantage just to play that run from Kevin De Bruyne. Enzo Fernandez tries to go with it, can't. It's in behind the fullback. He just flashes it with his left foot. First time Kevin De Bruyne across the face of the penalty area. Gets a ricochet out to Bernardo Silva, right into his path, and he just hits it through with the side foot. Takes a little deflection on its way through, but that puts Manchester City ahead in the game.
Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0. And after all of Chelsea's missed chances and the opportunities that they've had, now Mauricio Pochettino finds himself behind in the semi-final, and Bernardo Silva, that's football, Leon. Bernardo Silva, who was the man who missed that penalty in the shootout on Wednesday night in the Champions League. He might be the match winner. Now we've reached Saturday evening, and I can tell you as well that the word from down on the touchline is that Bernardo Silva was actually about to be substituted, and Oscar Bob was coming on to replace Bernardo Silva, but he's scored the goal. And at this stage of the game, with less than 5 minutes to play, it might be the goal that brings Manchester City back here for another FA Cup final.
Yeah, it could be. It is incredible, because he's not really been involved in the play in this second half, Bernardo Silva. He's not had many touches. He's played on the right-hand side. Most of the attacks for City have been down the left. But he's stayed lively. He keeps getting in the right position. He still believes in himself. And I'll bet you, if you ask the Manchester City players who they'd love to score the winner today, they would all point to him after, as you said, missing that penalty kick in the week.
It's been a yellow card for Kevin De Bruyne for coming together with Fernandez just while Leon was speaking there. So Kevin De Bruyne is booked, but he created the goal. De Bruyne just found the space in the left side of the penalty area. It was Doku who played it to Kevin De Bruyne. So that is, well, I think 159 assists now for Manchester City for Kevin De Bruyne, although that's a little bit approximate. Here is Doku. Doku's pass behind De Bruyne, then Foden forward, and Alvarez on the chase, but Thiago Silva is able to clear it. And now Chelsea. More cup heartache, it would seem, for Chelsea. Gallagher wins it. Free kick for handball near the halfway line. Well, they will talk, Chelsea certainly, about whether they should have had a penalty after the Palmer free kick struck the arm of Grealish in the wall. Pochettino's going to make another double change, so Ben Chilwell is going to come on for Cucurella. And also Raheem Sterling is coming on against his former club. Raheem Sterling, who scored in both matches against Manchester City in the Premier League for Chelsea this season. And it has come to that time. 2.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, they have to try something now, Chelsea. You're right, it's about, they'll be kicking themselves, because they've took the game to Manchester City. They've created chances. They should have been ahead, probably by more than one goal at one stage in this second half. And if you don't take an advantage, teams like Manchester City will punish you. And it looks like that's what's going to happen again for Chelsea here at Wembley.
Well, cheers, I hope, from the Chelsea fans, boos from the Manchester City fans for Raheem Sterling as he comes onto the field here at Wembley Stadium, where he's so familiar. And time rapidly running out. We're in the 88th minute. Manchester City are winning 1-0. So the lines are open for 606 on 5 Live. 08085 909 693. If it stays like this, Robbie and Chris will be on their way very shortly, with so much to talk about after the week's events and the day's events. Here is Mudryk inside his own half. All urgency now for Mauricio Pochettino's side. League Cup runners-up, and they may well be FA Cup beaten semi-finalists with this scoreline. Chalobah still inside their own half. Now Disasi over the halfway line to Cole Palmer. Palmer might be about to be on the losing side against his former club, and he's overhit that pass through for Ortega, who's able to pick it up. Important saves from the Manchester City FA Cup goalkeeper as well in this match. big chances for Jackson, who couldn't beat him. And if he keeps a clean sheet now, Manchester City are through. The holders will be back into the FA Cup final. Throw-in, which is given Chelsea's way on the halfway line, which is being contested by Pep Guardiola.
He wants this, Pep Guardiola. I've seen him animated at times, but he seems especially so at the moment. He demonstrated in a big way with Phil Foden moments ago for giving the ball away and not holding the ball up. Now he's bouncing around too.
Here's a chance. Mudryk to Jackson. Now Jackson releases Chilwell. Chilwell's ball across the penalty area. Couldn't find the pass. Sterling was in the middle, and the defender was able to get back and block it behind. It was Diaz, actually, who blocked it behind. Corner Chelsea, though.
What a big chance, and what an opportunity again missed. He took 4 more touches than he needed to. Raheem Sterling was in the centre, completely unmarked. If he just passed it across, he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He took 4 extra touches before attempting the pass, and City were able to recover.
Chelsea corner. Here it comes into the 6-yard box. Diaz is up again. They're headed away. Comes out to Chilwell. Oh, Chilwell might have been caught by De Bruyne there. No free kick, says referee Oliver. Back to the left-hand side. In comes the cross, but it's over Chalobah, and it bounces all the way through for a goal kick. And there will be 8 minutes of added time. So there is time, Leon. 8 minutes for Chelsea to rescue it.
Yeah, there is time, and they've got their attacking players on the pitch, and they are making runs forward. I think they've looked better when they've had this kind of player on the pitch. I thought when he made that change, Conor Gallagher went central. Cole Palmer was maybe moved to the right-hand side a little bit, then he went back in the centre. It didn't seem to work. They look like they're a threat again now, with real pacey wingers on the pitch.
Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0 is the score, however, and Manchester City are on course to make it 2 successive FA Cup finals for them for the first time since the 50s, since the Bert Troutman days. City with Bob, who's now under the field for Manchester City. But Chelsea win it back and are passing it forward nicely. Here's Sterling. Sterling in between 2 City players, but Rodri has cleanly tackled him. Up it goes towards Bob. Challenge comes in on him. The ball bounces for De Bruyne. Manchester City now searching for the second goal that would finish it off. Although in saying that, Doku stops the walking pace, but then beats Disasi, and De Bruyne gives it back to Doku, but just slightly overhits it, and it runs through the inside left position all the way through for a goal kick. Already a minute and a half of the 8 minutes of added time. Chelsea got to get it forward. This is it, mid-table Chelsea. They might yet be able to clinch a European place, we'll see. But if they're going to finish with an unlikely piece of silverware, they've got to score. But it's City and De Bruyne on the edge of the area, who shoots from the D, but that was blocked away out to the left-hand side. Doku's happy to allow that to bounce out of play, waste a few more seconds. The City fans, Doku says, come on, let's have a little bit of noise from you, Jeremy Doku. He does seem to be a little bit of a character, I must say. I saw him, he was talking to us before the Belgium game here last month in the internationals. Bright, sparky character. So up go the inflatable bananas again in the City section. The throw is eventually taken, and Ake back to Doku. Doku tried to find a pass around Caicedo, but it was cleared away to the halfway line. But comes off Jackson. Manchester City have got it back. We're in the 3rd minute of the 8 of added time. Manchester City edging through. There's a challenge by Gallagher on Foden. Referee waves play on with the advantage with Manchester City. Rodri to Doku. Doku infield to De Bruyne, and now Manchester City. Well, here's a familiar tale. Manchester City trying to play possession football to see the remaining time out in this match, and I'm not sure there's a better team in world football at doing that. And indeed the winner, a throw-in on the right-hand side. The goal scorer, Bernardo Silva, having scored his 12th goal for Manchester City. Got 2 goals in the quarter-final against Newcastle in that match I was talking about. Now he's got what might be the only goal of the semi-final. And here he is, Bernardo Silva, but the whistle's gone for an earlier foul, and it's a free kick to Chelsea, now in the 4th minute of added time.
Yeah, but Chelsea have to believe they can make one more chance in this match. I mean, it's difficult for City to keep the ball for the entire period that is left, so they have to get forward, they have to create, and have to actually take a chance if it does eventually come.
Free kick taken and played away downfield, but then Bernardo Silva is able to hoist it forward, and then De Bruyne is tangling with Caicedo. The ball bounces up between them and then comes down for Caicedo to turn and clear it to the halfway line. Raheem Sterling and then Akanji, and Sterling tried to latch onto the forward pass from Palmer. The ball's out of play. Mauricio Pochettino is absolutely furious that this has been given as a Manchester City throw in, and then I noticed Jeremy Doku actually threw the ball away there, and I think he might have got away with that because Mauricio Pochettino was attracting the officials' attention.
He has. Well, Michael Oliver thinks he's got that decision right, because I think it was Akanji made the clearance to hit Raheem Sterling before it went up, but it also then hit Ake as well. It should have been a Chelsea throw, and it was right in front of Mauricio Pochettino. He saw it. I can understand his frustration at this stage of the game.
Yep, you can. Mauricio Pochettino, this will be his final chance to win something with an English club for the first time this season. Here's De Bruyne. De Bruyne down the line for Doku, who takes the ball on towards the corner flag. We've played now over 5 minutes of added time. Doku's still in possession, and Manchester City still in possession with Kevin De Bruyne. And Kevin De Bruyne now takes command of the situation, takes it to the corner flag, but then actually passes it straight to goalkeeper Petrovic. And Chelsea will be off on another attack. Time rapidly running out now. Chilwell carries the ball forward. Might have been shrugged over by Rodri. Actually might have been fouled on the halfway line before that by Bernardo Silva. And that is given as a free kick to Chelsea.
Yeah, good positive drive and run. They need to get Cole Palmer on the ball. He's the man who's been making things happen for Chelsea. Manchester City have been able to stop the pass into him. They've been able to stop Chelsea getting him on the ball since we've gone into added time. He's the man they need.
So Kevin De Bruyne is named as the man of the match. Set up the goal against one of his former clubs. Free kick for Chelsea, then into the penalty area, headed away by Akanji. Comes out Gallagher on the edge of the box. Bob puts in the challenge for Manchester City. Doku wins it back from Gallagher, and now Manchester City on the counter-attack, not full tilt, leading as they are by 1-0. So I think Chelsea players will get back, and actually yes, Doku gives it to Kevin De Bruyne, who has no thoughts of taking it into the penalty area. He only has thoughts of taking it into the quadrant in the 7th minute, the penultimate minute of added time. He's not been able to put it out of play though, and Chelsea will have time for one more attack. Out to the far side to Ben Chilwell, then Mudryk, back to Chilwell again. Mauricio Pochettino cuts a very frustrated figure. He looks like a man who knows that time is very nearly up for his team in this match. Palmer is able to find Disasi. Now we are into the final minute, the 8th and final minute of added time. Ben Chilwell curling one forward down the left wing for Mudryk, the man with the pace. He's leaned into by Walker and he wins the free kick. He goes sprawling down behind the dead ball line, and he's got a free kick 6 or 7 yards back from the touchline, and it's a free kick to Chelsea on the left flank.
Yeah, just wide of the penalty area. It was a really good ball from Ben Chilwell, but it was a better run from Mudryk. He came short, and then he went inside to that pocket in between the right back and the centre, and then spun in behind Kyle Walker. And I did think it was just about a foul. He tried to lean in, as he did earlier against Nicholas Jackson, just got it wrong, and dangerous free kick for Chelsea.
Remember their recent late goals against Manchester United. Mudryk, oh, he's wasted it. Mudryk has played it over everyone inside the penalty area, and I think that's it. Well, what a moment. And actually Mateo Kovacic has been called forward, the former Chelsea man, Chelsea player last season, played here for Chelsea in an FA Cup final, in fact was sent off in an FA Cup final. He'll come on, that will tick down the final seconds, and Manchester City are going to be back here on the 25th of May.
Big opportunity. I mean, you've got to find a delivery. I did think that every Chelsea player seemed to attack the same spot. Nobody went round the back just in case it was overhit. Nobody was the insurance there. City were delighted to see the ball go out.
There's Ortega's goal kick. It drops over the halfway line. It's headed forward by Chilwell. It's headed back by Bernardo Silva. And then it's played back to Petrovic. then long and forward from the Chelsea goalkeeper into the centre circle. Michael Oliver says that's it, that's the final whistle, and the late goal from Bernardo Silva has won the FA Cup semi-final for Manchester City. The holders are back in the FA Cup final, and Chelsea, their disappointing season on so many fronts, has now ended in FA Cup semi-final defeat. And Cole Palmer, I know, collapses into the centre circle. And just like the League Cup final here just a few weeks ago, Chelsea had so many chances, couldn't convert, and Manchester City through Bernardo Silva. And what a story of redemption that is for Bernardo Silva. In the space of just a few days, Bernardo Silva, who hit that penalty that failed to go in and cost his team in the Champions League on Wednesday night, turns out to be the man who scores the winning goal at Wembley on Saturday night. And Manchester City are through to the final, and Chelsea, not their day. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0. Leon.
Yeah, Chelsea will be kicking themselves. I mean, I think if you go toe-to-toe with Manchester City in that way and you try and take the game to them and you get as many chances of that, you've got to take them, you've got to get ahead in the game. I saw an awful lot of promise, I think, from Chelsea today. I saw an awful lot of things that if they keep working in the right direction with this really young team, that they could develop into something. But they came up against the Masters who know how to win things, they know how to get over the line, they know how to get the job done. They hang in there, you don't score against them, they will wear you down, and that's what Manchester City did today.
Yep, not to be for Chelsea again, but it is again Manchester City who stride forward into yet another final, yet another FA Cup final, and Bernardo Silva is the man who in the end made the difference in the 84th minute. Final score here at Wembley, Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0.